Hello and welcome. My name is Berwick Mahdi Davenport, author of Mind-Blowing Intercourse, Your Personal Path to Pleasure and Power. And that's exactly what it does, right? Before I get started, I want to thank all of those who've already pulled the trigger in supporting me in this great cause in my pre-order campaign of my book. Thank you so much. I know that the success that I'm looking for cannot be achieved without your help. And yes, essentially what I've done is I've turned my dream over to the public. This is not about money. This is about a spiritual movement to get people involved with something that is contributing to their rise, to their redemption, so to speak. And so, one thing is money can't really buy your redemption. Money can't really buy your transformation, but you can and you must invest money, time, energy, and attention into transforming yourself into the life, or transforming your life into the life that you really want to live. And I'm so excited about being one of those people in the world who are up to something so big and so great that they're unafraid to turn over their dream to the public. So what I've done is turn over my dream of being a international best-selling author. I've turned it over to you, and I hope that you see that your dream is connected to my dream. And anyone who supports another person's dream also supports their own dream. Don't forget your dream. Don't stop dreaming and don't stop imagining that you can have what you want in this life. Because if you give up on your imagination, if you give up on dreaming, you give up on your future. You give up on the life that you really want to live. So this morning I want to share with you just a little bit about what inspired me to write this book. And I want to start by giving you a perfect example of what I think the book does for women, because I wrote this book for women. And I want men to know that it's a good book for you as well, especially if you are a man looking to support the women in your life, being all that they can be and climax into their personal greatness. You need to support this book, just like women support us all the damn time, right? So I want you to picture this. I want every woman out there to picture being tied up in a straitjacket, being locked in a straitjacket. And I want you to imagine yourself being frustrated emotionally and wanting to break out, and you're not able to because they've locked you down in this straitjacket. And I want you to imagine that you in the straitjacket is your authentic self, and your straitjacket is your representative. It's that person that you're trying to be to please everybody. It's that person that you're trying to be to get everything right, to not make mistakes, to make sure that you look the way you're supposed to look or should look. And all the while, your authentic self is inside this straitjacket trying to break free, trying to express things that it is unable to express, trying to demonstrate feelings that is unable to demonstrate, trying to represent truth that your representative won't let it represent. And you're struggling every day. And every day you feel less appreciated, taken for granted, overlooked, not recognized, and it's building up inside. There are so many things you want to say to so many people that you've been holding back, and they're swallowing it. And that's the world you've been living in. You've been trying to live up to the labels and definitions given to you by this world about what a woman is supposed to be, what a woman should be, and it's not who a woman really is. That is up to you. That is up to you, not up to the world, not up to some man determining for you how you should be or not should be. So I want you to imagine that mind-blowing intercourse is the key that unlocks the straitjacket. Mind-blowing intercourse is the key that unlocks the straitjacket, setting you free to be who you really are, who you've really determined yourself to be. And I'm so excited about being that person, who contributes to that, right? Uh, when I was 8 or 9 years old, just to give you some background about what also contributed to me wanting to talk about this subject, because when you read the title, Mind-Blowing Intercourse, of course, the first thing you think about is sex. You have sex on your brain just like men, right? Because we've been conditioned and socialized to see things in a certain way. And even though you see that the way I spell it is different, still sex is in the background. Well, I want to tell you, sex plays a major role in what I talk about in this book, because sex is like an anchor. It holds down the sort of like a marking point of where pleasure is. And, well, not really where pleasure is not the only, sex is not the only place where pleasure is, but sex reminds us that pleasure exists in this world. And here's where I first came into contact with that. When I was 8 or 9 years old, I found one of my uncle's play penthouse magazines. And it was one of my first times seeing a nude woman's body, and I'm flipping through the magazine, seeing all these different nude women's body, getting excited about the idea and being silly at the same time. And then I noticed there was an article in the magazine, or actually a cartoon caricature of a poor black family sitting on a porch of a poor house, like a shotgun house. And, you know, they had sackcloth clothes on. You could see that they were real poor. And it was a very racist caricature. But the caption at the bottom said, "Sex is the only pleasure we can afford." And they were nothing but children running around the house. And I remember that to this very day because it was profound, because it began a process in me. It began me to start thinking about, what did that mean? Why is pleasure so expensive? And why would sex be the only pleasure we could afford? I look at it in a very divine way. I look at it as the universe was pointing me to the marker of the thing that when everything else fails, when the world becomes so painful and so filled with suffering and sacrifice, that sex is there and has been there to remind us that pleasure exists in this world, that this world has pleasure in it and we have to create it. So I began to start delving deeper into the whole idea of pleasure, and I started to ask myself what pleasure really was. And here's what I discovered. I discovered that pleasure was more than just a one-time experience. It's more than an experience that you have when you are having sex. It's more than an experience you have when you're eating delicious food. It's more than an experience you have when you're in love with someone. It's more than an experience you have when you're happy or when you feel powerful. Pleasure is in all these things, but pleasure is greater than an experience. Pleasure is actually our original state of being. And that's what I discovered. That the reason why we've been given so many perverted views of pleasure was because the world has been trying to keep us out of our original state of being. And so we exist in pain, we exist in suffering, we exist in sacrifice, and the world has convinced us that that is where we're supposed to be. And guess what? When you're in pain and suffering and sacrifice, you cannot get into your genius. You don't have access to your greatest potential in yourself. The genius in your own brain you're locked out of. In fact, research shows when you are in pain, all you think about is pain. All you see is pain. The world to you occurs as one big painful event. And it's not until you get into your original state of being, which is pleasure, that you begin to see the world as a great possibility of creating whatever you imagine. So, mind-blowing intercourse, your personal path to pleasure and power, redefines and takes the perversion off of pleasure, and it gets you to understand the spiritual power that is in pleasure, that is a part of your original state of being. I am so excited about what this book is going to do for women. Now, I wrote it for women, but I want men to know, especially those men who are down with supporting women. And every man should be down with supporting women, because women have supported us when we were down. We need to support women. So go out and purchase this book. And if you don't want to read it, give it as a gift to a woman in your life that you're trying to support her climax into her personal greatness. Listen, this book is the key that unlocks the straitjacket and sets women free once and for all. You will be able to see and know your authentic self, and know that your authentic self is your most powerful self you can be. My name is Berwick Mahdi Davenport, author of Mind Blowing Intercourse, and I can't wait for you to read this book and be transformed. Thank you.